will hold another round of trade talks in Beijing after negotiations this week failed to result in a deal. President Trump made good on his promise to increase tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese imports on Friday. CBS's News' Nicole Killian reports from the White House.
China so far is taking a wait-and-see approach following the latest salvo in the trade war with Washington. On Friday, the U.S. increased tariffs to 25% from 10% for some $200 billion worth of Chinese goods.
The trade war threatens to raise the cost of goods. Importers will pay the tariff, but they will pass that cost along to the final consumer.
Beijing has threatened countermeasures, but the day after negotiations ended with no deal, China still had yet to retaliate.
It's going to make U.S. firms less competitive, and we're going to see further retaliation.
This latest move by the U.S. in the year-long trade battle was reportedly triggered after Beijing backtracked on previous pledges with the White House.
The president tweeted Saturday, "Such an easy way to avoid tariffs. Make or produce your goods and products in the good old USA. It's very simple."
Is it making American products more competitive? These tariffs?
Yes.
While the world's two largest economies battle over trade, China has targeted American farmers, aiming a round of tariffs on U.S. food exports. Nicole Killian, CBS News, the White House.
President Trump on Friday also ordered officials to prepare to impose tariffs on more than $300 billion worth of Chinese goods, which covers just about everything China exports to the U.S.
Turned into a pretty rainy evening across southern and eastern Kentucky. We're dealing with widespread showers showing up right now on pinpoint Doppler radar, not to mention some areas of heavier rain through portions of Magoffin, Floyd County, Knott County, down into Harlan County, southern Leslie County, extending back towards Bell and eastern Knox County. Also some heavier showers right around Corbin, extending back towards Lake Cumberland. So you can see a lot of heavier precipitation on the radar this evening. In fact, anywhere where you're seeing some of those oranges and reds showing up, rainfall rates in excess of 1 inch per hour. So that is some pretty heavy rain showing up on pinpoint Doppler this evening. Temperature wise right now, generally running in the upper 50s to mid 60s across the region, although we're still really close to 70 down at Middlesboro at 68 degrees. And temperatures should hold pretty steady through the overnight tonight. You can download the WYMT weather app for the latest forecast always, and you can see keeping it in the mid to low 60s through the evening. Rain chances remaining on the high side through the overnight into tomorrow morning. So as you head out the door for your Sunday morning services, you'll definitely want to pack the umbrella. And more rain is in the forecast for Mother's Day, and in fact, stretching now into Monday. A look at that updated forecast is coming up here in just a few minutes, Macy.
All right, thank you, Shane. Owsley County deputies say a person stole a vehicle around 4 o'clock this morning. Deputies did find that vehicle, but they're still looking for this person who they say stole it and then drove off to a strip job in Breathitt County. Anyone with information is asked to call the Owsley County Sheriff's Office. Cash, marijuana, and more than a pound of THC-laced Lego gummies. That's what Laurel County deputies say they found this man, Jerry Fortunato, with off I-75. Deputies pulled Fortunato over for weaving in and out of traffic and noticed the smell of marijuana coming from his car. Deputies charged him with several things, including possession, and took him to the Laurel County Detention Center. A pilot was arrested in Louisville today for fatally shooting 3 people. Christian Martin was indicted Friday by a grand jury in the 2015 deaths of 3 people from Pembroke. American Airlines, the company Martin worked for, says they are cooperating with the investigation. Yesterday, Perry County officials made the announcement that Dashcore Aluminum will be coming to Perry County. This will not only bring more than 200 jobs to the area, but it will also help out some local businesses as well. Local business owners like Doug Jones from Rental Pro says he believes this company will help not only his company grow tremendously, but others around the region too.
We're very, very happy about this, very pleased about it. I think it's a chance to diversify the economy here. I think it's a really good opportunity for the local miners. We've got a lot of guys who are skilled in heavy industry.
The Dashcore company is headquartered in Canada, and this will be its first building in the U.S. The Cryptic Knights chapter of the Kentucky Widow Sons raised money in downtown Paintsville today. A bike ride along with live music, food, and inflatables brought in money and some smiles. All those proceeds go to the Johnson County Special Olympics team. Jim Hill is the past president of the Cryptic Knights and co-founder of the Special Olympics team in Johnson County. He says the look on the athletes' faces as they see the bikes roll in is priceless.
Oh my God, they start clapping, they want to run over and hug you, and that's just out of the world.
The event wrapped up at 10 o'clock tonight. The Johnson County Special Olympics team has 25 athletes competing in track and field in Richmond on May 31st until June 1st. Authorities in Curaçao say that 17 crew members and 11 passengers must stay aboard a ship owned by the Church of Scientology that was quarantined at the Dutch Caribbean island following a confirmed case of measles. The group is required to stay on the 440 feet ship until May 13th, that's Monday, because they're still at risk of contracting measles after a woman crew member was diagnosed with that disease. A doctor says the remaining crew members and passengers, which totaled more than 300, are free to leave the ship that has been quarantined in Curaçao for a week and are not a threat to anyone.
All of the laboratory tests into account, where we try to show who is and who is not protected against measles, looking at antibodies in their body and looking at the sufficient titer of antibodies to be able to protect them sufficiently against measles. But we also take into account people who have documented proof of vaccination. If we bunch all of those together, then in total, up until now at least, from the 216 crew, 199 are deemed protected.
Church officials have not returned messages for comment. The ship was previously quarantined in St. Lucia. UNC Charlotte's first commencement ceremony of the weekend took place Friday evening as students and faculty continue working through the traumatic aftermath from last week's deadly campus shooting. The university is still mourning the loss of 2 students from the shooting that took 2 lives. That was the life of Riley Howell, who was 21, and Elis Reed Parler, 19, and that also left 4 other students injured after officials say 22-year-old Tristan Terrell opened fire in a classroom.
We're celebrating such a big accomplishment, and not everybody can be here for that.
The graduates wore white ribbons on their green gowns Friday in memory of the students killed. Some of them said this was their first time returning to campus since the shooting happened. A freight train derailed after heavy rains overnight caused flash flooding. At least 20 cars were derailed and piled up in a giant mess with the tracks washed out in Mississippi. By 10 a.m., emergency officials were reporting that multiple high water rescues have already taken place in the same part of the state the derailment happened in. A tug carrying 2 barges collided with a tanker south of Morgan's Point in the Ship Channel Friday afternoon in Texas. One of the barges capsized and the other was left with a gaping hole in the middle. The barges were loaded with gasoline blend stock, which is now spilling into the water. Officials, though, say the smell of gasoline does not necessarily mean there is a health hazard. A pet raccoon has been euthanized after attacking 2 children in Michigan. The backyard incident was caught on camera. 6-year-old Abigail Migalski says she was attacked by the wild animal in her own backyard. Her father says his children are now afraid to play in their backyard alone.
They won't sleep in their rooms. They're not going to go play in the yard now. They're not safe. They don't feel safe anymore.
The neighbors say they cared for the raccoon since it was a baby. They claim it was friendly and the creature would peacefully sleep next to their granddaughter. At least 3 people are dead and others in the hospital after a major explosion destroyed a gas station in Buena Vista, Virginia. People close by say they heard an explosion and saw a large fire with flames towering over it. Authorities are working to determine the cause and how many people were actually inside the South River Market when it caught fire. A huge fire engulfed a Texas mansion overnight. The home was once an event venue known as the White House Ranch. Everyone did get out of the home safely. It's unclear how the fire started and if it was weather-related. The fire marshal will determine the exact cause of the fire. And still to come on Mountain News Weekend Edition, Venezuela's opposition leader is seeking to open relations with the U.S. military. And heavy rain causes issues across the southeast portion of the country this weekend. We'll have video from that.